Yes, as I promised you earlier on yesterday, I promised you I'll be hosting Mr. Honorable Wanyama Kennedy. Here we are. I'd like to apologize for not coming in very early as I talked about. I talked about 10:30, and I've not managed to keep time, but I'm sorry for that. You forgive
30 minutes late.
Yeah. So I'd like to greet everyone who is watching. I greet you in your different capacities. Good morning. I think it's still good morning. Yeah. Here I have Mr. Wanyama Kennedy. Is a colleague. At the same time, he has some interest. I think he will talk more about that. And this live is gonna take strictly 30 minutes. We shall not go so long. So we shall begin there and then. So, Mr. Wanyama, the viewers would like to know, who is Wanyama Kennedy?
Okay. Good morning, our viewers. First of all, I want to say I am humbled and so much obliged to be hosted on your Facebook page, and I want to kindly bring my greetings to every viewer and thank you so much for hosting me here. You asked me a question, it's not a simple one, but it's a good question. Who is Mr. Wanyama Kennedy? In precise, I would say Kennedy Wanyama is this young man that has grown up in Busia and holding so much Christian values. As a person, I did not grow up so much with my parents, so I've grown up with the different people raising me. So I've been raised under so many, like hands, and I appreciate God for that. And so Kennedy is a young Christian professional, and with quite a lot of, ambitions, with a big dream, and hoping that this dream will be achieved soon.
Okay, I think you've heard that is Mr. Wanyama Kennedy.
But probably, yeah, I would add on, maybe people would wish to know a little bit more about that, especially when it comes to my educational background. I hold a bachelor's degree in public administration and management of Kampala International University. My lower life, academic life, I grew up in Busia. I studied in various schools, and Busia Forward being one of the schools that raised me, and Busia Progressive, aka Bupa. So it no longer exists, but I'm proud to have been part of the Bupa team. And so to my OGs of Bupa, I send you greetings.
Oh, thank you so much. Though that is who he is. I would like to go very fast because of time. So you've said you hold a bachelor's degree in
Public administration and
management. And I think that is quite good for the people of Busia. And this one might not be in the line that we are in, but as I've been trying to push on for a clean Busia municipality, you've seen how the town is very dirty, a lot of soil put on the roads, the streets are very dark, the roads are very poor. I don't know. What is your comment on this? What is your comment on the town?
You know, first of all, I would say, sorry for that interference. First of all, I would say that we have begun experiencing this in this current situation where we are under lockdown, and because of the effect of the COVID-19, pandemic. And for me, as an administrator, I would say that it is very absurd. It is really so not good to see Busia looking the way it looks. And of course, this calls for a social, responsibility. But first of all, I want to say that the management of Busia Municipal Council is highly responsible for how our city is looking in this current situation. One thing that I recall talking to some of my colleagues and some friends when we're discussing about this issue is the fact that we have COVID-19, people are giving it attention so much, more than anything else. It has caused kind of a tendency where people are no longer interested in, balancing other issues that affect human life. And so this is where we're having a challenge. Because basically when you look at our health facilities, for example, right now, we are also having similar issues. Not only actually the town and how dirty the town is, but we are also having similar issues in health facilities. We are having challenges in institutions. So every institution has been affected. But precisely when we look at the cleaning up and of our town, then I would say that our leaders need to be sober and more vigilant to ensure that the team that is responsible to cleaning up the town continues to do their work. The drivers are alert and they're responsible to pick up this Kasasiro. The town clerk is doing his job. And so I think in one way or the other, our leaders have concentrated so much into having meetings for task force, closing the markets, checking who is not observing the curfew, checking who is not wearing a mask. But at the end of the day, all these issues cut across and they're forgetting other partners that are very important.
So, Mr. Ken, when the pandemic was just coming in and the regulations were coming in, we saw you distributing washing cans to almost every part. You distributed at tax park, in the markets and blah blah, which was good. Don't you think there is a way you can push? You can push your mayor as your friend. Most leaders are your friend. Don't you think there is a way you can push and see how this is harmonized?
Yes, this is something very important. I would agree that yes, we can push this because our brother mayor, and not only the mayor, because this is the issue. This issue is not only for the mayor. This is an issue that has come up and now requires everybody to be responsible. And so it's now beyond the leaders. Of course, we've seen the leaders not taking an action, which is, not taking a quick action. But now currently, we want to encourage everybody to take the responsibility. For example, if you have a shop or you have some small business you're doing around the marketplace and you do your business that could probably endanger the environment after your business, I would suggest that you take the responsibility to clean. Of course, I know you pay taxes. I know you say, okay, the municipal council has got people who clean, we pay them, they charge us taxes. But now that they have failed to respond to the need, we need to come up together and support.
Sure.
We should not wait to dump garbage everywhere and let our town start to stink. Yeah. And this will cause some other diseases like cholera and others. So. True. We really need to also be supportive and encourage each other so that we have a collective, social responsibility to clean up our town. But I would really say that our leaders need to take up action because we learn by them and we follow them.
Sure. So, Mr. Kennedy, the other question I'd like to ask, have you ever been in any elected position as a leader? It might not be maybe in Busia or whatever. Have you ever been in that elective position?
Yeah, of course, quite a number of them. Right away from my school life, when I was in primary, just precisely because we have little time, I remember my first time to contain an office that's elective. I was in P6, P7, and my first position was the prefect of the language in primary school. When I joined secondary in senior one, I remember contesting. My senior one was at Lumino High School. Then from there, that's when I had to move to Busia forward. But in senior one at Lumino High School, I remember contesting for the in the students' council as a class councillor for senior 1B, and I won an election, and so I participated. The second term, I was appointed the secretary of students' council, and then
that was UNSA.
That's UNSA, and then when I was at Busia Progressive, that was around 2002, and I was in senior 3, and I contested for the head prefect. You can imagine how ambitious I was being in senior 3. But basically, the head prefect was meant to come from senior 1. From senior 6 or senior 5. But there was a mistake that was done at school by the electoral commission of the school, that they did not limit which candidate should apply for which position. So it was open, and so me from senior 3, I also decided to apply. And so I was tested for an interview, then I went through, then I started campaigning. And I realized at that moment, I had so many followers, because I was a young Christian who also moved so many young people behind me, because we're having kind of a scripture union at school. So all my followers from senior 1, senior 2, and senior 3 members were in support of me, because I was their favorite candidate. And then the other candidate who was in senior 5 and senior 6, and of course the senior 5 and senior 6 students were few, so the majority were on my side. So I won that year. I won that election. Actually, I contested with Monday. Right now, I think he's at he's working with clearance.
Monday.
Yes.
Monday.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was ahead of us, and so that caused a kind of a strike at school, saying how can a young child win an election? And so they had to call us to office, and they pulled us down and said, Kennedy, for you're still young, you still have more opportunities, so wait and let Monday go, and then you take over. Then so they had to make Monday the head prefect, and then they made me the deputy. And probably, all of us had the privileges to access.
Monday is watching, by the way.
Definitely. So, and that's what happened. And so, when I joined the university, and at Kampala International University, I even have a certificate at home for being one of the students' council member under the office of Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs. Yeah.
Okay.
And also I've been a chairman of the Busia Christian Youth Umbrella, which we formed. This is an umbrella that joins all the young Christians in Busia district. Yeah. And we formed it. Actually, I'm the founder. And after that, for the last 5 years, we have had other young men coming in and expressing their leadership roles.
That is good for democracy. So, what was your best shot? What, like, in that kind of from primary, secondary, high school, university, up to now? What is that thing that you really did one time and you're like, wow, this one I've done it perfectly for the people?
That was when the moment I contested with a senior 3, me being the senior 3 student and contesting with the senior 5 student and winning the support of the majority being on my side. That made me strongly believe that yes, I have it. There's something that people see in me that is very strong, and seeing the potential and an opportunity in me to build, and that was I would say that would be the turning point of my political background that steered me so much to start believing in leadership.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is very good. So we've had, rumors here and there. We've had before the pandemic. We've seen you in many gatherings before when the gatherings were not banned. We've seen you in gatherings. We've seen you declaring, and basing on that, we know that you want to come or you want to contest for Member of Parliament for Busia Municipality. I don't want it to be a rumor. Is it true you're coming? Or, sometime we had again, you ceased the fire, blah, blah, blah. So, we want the viewers out there, because you have come with a lot of vigor. We want the viewers there to know that are you coming? Are you contesting for the Member of Parliament, Busia Municipality? That is my question.
First, I would say the Electoral Commission of the Republic of Uganda has not officially allowed the candidates to campaign, to start running rallies, even though they have given us a roadmap. But that does not stop anyone who wants to express their views and how they feel leadership role should be taken on. And so, as Kennedy, like you asked me, definitely I say yes. I have already, explored my views. I've consulted. I've talked to so many friends and many individuals, many elders, young people in Busia municipality specifically about the intentions. And these intentions are not really personal, like some people might think, just because they also want to show off, because they're young people. And so I would say it's really true. I would be challenging our incumbent Member of Parliament currently, Honorable Macho, for Busia Municipality, and come 2021, if God, gives us life, we hope that we are in a good struggle, and I'm ready to challenge him.
Oh, very good. So I think the viewers out there, you've heard it from the man himself, that he's much interested and is coming. If God gives us life, let me hope the pandemic does not kill all our voters.
Definitely.
That is our prayer.
That's our prayer.
Yeah. So why do you want to contest? Why do you want to be a Member of Parliament? As in, is there a problem wrong in here and there that you really want to fix? As in, what is your major interest? Why you came as that?
Your question is surprising, when you say, why do you want to be a Member of Parliament? Why?
Yeah.
It sounds as if being a Member of Parliament is fixed only on one person, that other people are not meant to be, to participate in that kind of position. It's as if it is for one person. But just probably maybe to correct you, my brother, there are quite many reasons.
Yeah.
Even you can be if you want. The first thing is to believe in yourself and knowing who you are. But I would say the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda gives mandate to every citizen above 18 years to, first of all, have a right to express their views and a right to participate in choosing the kind of leaders they want. And secondly, also having a right, a personal right, to meet, consult, and request the people within your surrounding to trust you and try you to any office of your wish. And so, personally, the reason as to why I really want to ask and let the people of Busia Municipality know that I will be coming in the upcoming elections, which of course I'm already, we're in discussions with the different stakeholders. The reason is that quite a number of things have not been fixed. A number of things have not been fixed here in Busia Municipality. We have had politics. For me, I see politics in two segments. There is a politics of propaganda, and there is also a politics of, actions. Being a politician, but doing the will of the people. But there's also a moment where you do politicking, and nothing is seen from what you're politicking is, what you're politicking about. So it is a time I would tell the people of Busia Municipality that at this moment we need to stop people who come to bring propaganda without doing anything.
Sure. Yeah.
We need politicians who have experience of how things are supposed to be done. The reason as to why government has got leadership structures is because not everyone can represent their entire community on issues of leadership or on what the government is going to do for the people. That is why we have leadership right away from LOC 1, LOC 2, up to the president level. And the reason is that you choose one person who will represent your views, who will represent your ideas, take them, for example, if you're a member of parliament, discuss them in parliament, make laws that favor your people, not making laws that are against your people, and also bring feedback
To
your people and tell them what is the government planning for them, what is the government doing for them. And people need to see that in reality. For example, look at the young people in Busia Municipality. We are the majority, actually not only in Busia, but the entire country. We are the majority. But as much as we are the majority, we are the least in terms of the numbers that are employed. The majority of the people that are employed are not the young people. So the young people are suffering at the expense of these people who say they understand for us. They are in the system of leadership, but they are not favoring the young people, and they are not minding about what about the future of the young people.
The young people. Yeah. So you've talked about of course the MPs are supposed to make laws, and they're also supposed to consult their people, the interests of their people. You've talked of you've talked of an MP not doing something for himself before consulting people. We've seen the scandals of Tojupatako, we've seen the scandal of the OTT tax, we've seen a lot of scandals, and I think the viewers themselves there can bear me witness. They know whether their MP has been coming to them to consult them or not. And I also have this feeling that what will make it different from other MPs? We've seen them being given bribes so that the motion of the president can be passed. So, what will you do, as in you as Honorable Kennedy Wanyama, on that issue?
You've asked a very good question, and I would like to first of all begin from the point of Tojupatako, getting bribes and doing that, OTT tax. The question would be, okay, we had those bills in parliament that were passed, and our members of parliament that we took there, you saw them agreeing with the president and passing them. But those bills that you're talking about, those are anti-people bills. You know very well that the OTT tax does not favor a low person. You know very well that Toji Kwatako does not give the younger person a privilege to be in leadership, since it is adjusting the years and continuing to prolong the term for the old people to contest. I want our elders to quote me right here. I'm not saying that the elders are not important, but what we're saying is that the participation, the inclusion, ensuring that everybody participates and is part of the system is very important. So this system of leadership in Uganda is not only for President Museveni, is not only for Honorable Macho in Busia Municipality, but is for anybody can contest. So we need an environment where the young people are given the opportunity, the women are given the opportunity also to participate freely without being, given stringent conditions. And so, why the young people were coming in, like for my case, we want to bring a change. We want to be inspirational to the rest of the young people as well, to tell them that we can we can also do something for our fellow young people. And what is going to make me a different person if my people stand with me and I happen to succeed for the position of the Member of Parliament next year? For me, my point number one would be to ensure that I reconcile my team.
You do what?
I need to reconcile my team. How do I reconcile my team? Every system has got agents. Even President Museveni has got structures on every village. Every DC has got, people power has got. You see people saying, I'm the coordinator of this. The system has to be reconciled and form uniformity so that they stay together and keep the course, you know. Secondly, we need to remember what we have promised people.
Good.
What we have promised people. If you promise people that you are going to tarmac a road, do it. If you have promised the younger people that you are going to get them some jobs, give them the jobs. In the Busia municipality here, I've moved around and I've seen young people making the cook stores. I've seen some young people having some, you know, like I would call them mini factories that they are making saucepans. There are those who are selling charcoal. There are those who are doing different things. We have the artists. We have the saloonists, the people who are in saloon, kinos, and doing different stuff, business. And they are already in groups. As a member of parliament, I would think that these are already formed groups, people with a cause, people with dreams, people with visions. Though they are young, we just need to empower them, strengthen their systems, give them more capital in the groups which are already existing, because they already have something that is running. Empower them and advocate to fund them so that they can expand and employ more young people. Because currently, in the government system, there are few jobs. And so we will not wait for the government to create jobs for our people, but we can also create our own jobs by doing something. Busia, first of all, is a border town and is a business town. We are privileged that we are bordering Kenya, so our people can transact quite a number of businesses here. But the issue is bringing the policies on board that favor the people to transact their businesses well, and then also ensuring that how do you make money available to them to do what they want to do. So that at the end of the day, the young people do not just stay on street, you know, maybe playing Ludo and doing any other thing.
You know, let me cut you short, Mr. Wanyama. You know, the young people have been used very many times when it comes to elections. It is the young people who go for mobilization. It is the young people who do most great work. But at the end of the road, these young people are left behind after the leaders have gone through. But as you've said, if at all these young people are empowered, every sector is touched on, every sector is worked on, I think the problem of unemployment can easily be worked upon. So the other one is a funny question, but I think it is a must. Which political party do you subscribe to?
Thank you. It's a nice question. At the moment, I'm not subscribing to any political party. I want to be open to the viewers and also to you. But at the moment, I'm not subscribing to any political party. I am an independent person. And that's why I've been telling the people of Busia Municipality that as I'm preparing to contest for the parliamentary seat for Busia Municipality, I am coming as an independent candidate. And the reason is I don't see quite a lot of sense now to subscribe to a party in order to be a leader or in order to work for the people of Busia Municipality. The people of Busia Municipality currently and in this current state we are in do not need a political party to work for them to bring development. What they need is a person who is transparent, a person who is honest, with a high level of integrity to work for them, a person who will call a spade a spade. Okay? So what we need currently is a person who is going to work for the people, not ideally a party. If I may just remind you maybe shortly. For the past years, if you track the record of the leaders that have been in place for Busia Municipality, have been under specific parties. We had the Honorable Agrawori, who was a member of parliament, and first he was under UPC when he was taking the whole constituency, including the north, before municipality was created. Then later, he joined NRM. Then we had Mr. Etongolo Mugeni, who was the NRM member. Then later, we saw Honorable Kevina, who was FDC. And of recent, the incumbent, Honorable Geoffrey Macho, is a member of the NRM party. And, you know, having that track of record, less has been done. And so one will still wonder whether the party is important.
In fact, you hijacked my question. I was going to ask you, do you think party politics is important? But I think you've answered it. The other question is, we people always have a tendency of saying that if a person is not elected as NRM, because it is the ruling party, the town is going to lag behind, the town will not have good roads, the town will not have markets, and if at all people are elected under that party of NRM, we know that they can easily talk with the president. Like right now, the Honorable Macho, of course, he's under NRM. When it comes to the next elections, of course, he's going to say, "I brought the market." That is because of NRM. And then, if at all the road maybe is being constructed, we've seen Majanji Road constructed. We've seen that So he'll come in and he'll tell you people that, you know what, I lobbied for this road. That is because he's NRM. He's saying that I can do that because I go and talk with the president. But if you elect a person who is not NRM, how will this person go there, talk to the president? How will the president give these projects to the district? That is our tendency anyway. I don't know. So if I told you saying that you are independent, I don't know how you're going to bring this to remove that that tendency.
First of all, I think I would say that maybe it's not a tendency, because we have seen the people of FDC being in leadership for this town, like I mentioned. We have seen UPC has ever in leading and guiding our people here. NRM is in charge currently, and so I would say it's not for NRM. And if one would come up and say NRM, then for me I would say I would term it as disrespecting other stakeholders, because for development to take place, you don't need one party. Every stakeholder is important. Even the people who are non-partisan are important. For example, the religious leaders, where do you place them now if you bring the issues of the parties? So it is important for people to understand that there are systems, and those systems were created for the good of the people. And so a leader is just there as an eye of the people, as a voice of the people, but doesn't make that much decision. Government already plans how much has to come to Busia, but also the issue of development and lobbying is not all about a party. It's about the strength and the voice of that leader that you have put in place, who is in a position to strongly advocate for his or her people. For example, if you say now that if you don't subscribe through NRM party, then there will be no development. The current situation in Busia Municipality, Honorable Macho has been there for the last 5 years. This is his 5th year in Parliament. What has he done?
He will set the market.
The market was planned even before he came in power. And President Museveni has been here several times promising that market, even before Macho came, thought of contesting. If truly we say that you have to subscribe to NRM in order to bring development to the people, why are the young people crying of their money? Have you had that scandal here in town? Where the young people requested for some money, and I don't know where that money went.
Which young people in particular?
The young people in Busia Municipality, not just particular, but the young people of Busia Municipality. You had the scandal of the grinding machine, where Honorable Macho Geoffrey was involved. I saw young people protesting around and going to the office of the RDC saying Honorable Macho has
has
taken their money. That scandal was there in this town. Young people protesting that he went to the president and he got
the grinding machine.
Some money, and I don't know where that has ended. So if truly that happened, is that the leadership that we want? That you want who you want to have a leader who will come in, and even the little that he's given to take to his people, he takes it to his pocket. Before even he arrives to Busia, he comes and he tells you it dropped at River Nile in Jinja. It has not arrived. So I think we it's not all about party. It is that, like I mentioned, honesty, transparent. This is ideally a leader who is earning a salary. He gets allowances. He has quite a lot of privileges. And the people of Busia Municipality are the boss to these people. When you vote a leader, Mukamao, because we're so much in English, maybe some people may not be also getting us. But we don't have a kulembeze bafe. For abantu ababalonza abakulembeze abo, for ababera bakama baabwe. So si mukulembeze okubeera mukama wo, tuba omulonze tanolonta ko kugamba nti oyo nga babeera mu kibiina ekyagundi kati agenda okukuleetera enkulaakulana. Naye ffe bakama b'abakulembeze betulonda kati tulina okubabuulira kiki kye twagala. Naye obuzibu bwe tulina nti tubadde tulonda abakulembeze emabega eyo. Naye abakulembeze ate betulonze tugenze tulaba nti n'ebitono bye twabatuma okugenda okutunyagira okuleeta eno bisobole okuyamba abaana baffe abavubuka abatalina mirimo, abakyala ababonaabona ku street nga batunda ennyaanya mu butale. Bwe bamala ne babifuna ate babisigaza mu nsawo zaabwe. So we need leaders who are going to be transparent,
work for the people,
and work for the people for the good of our land.
Kati within that very line, I've seen you talked about Honorable Macho. You're like, if at all is NRM, which development has he done? Instead, the development that was given is again taking it away from the people. When it came to elections of which year was that? The previous election,
the 2016.
We saw you at the forefront. You were almost the planner of the Macho team. You were the one who could schedule activities. This is going to run this way. This is going to run this way. The viewers would like to know. Since the viewers would like to know, why did you break away from that team? Since you were at the forefront, if at all it was the cabinet, I think you are among the top 3. Why did you break from that team and deciding now that you want to contest for MP? The viewers would like to know.
First of all, I want to say that Honorable Macho himself has confessed, and I have his audio in a meeting somewhere where he was meeting people, and he said, I have never been on his structure.
You've never been?
I have never been on his structure. And he mentioned that the first time we met was when the elections were being counted at the district.
Okay.
So, I don't know, but honestly, the question you have asked...
But we saw you there.
It is true.
We saw you there.
That I mentioned on Honorable Macho's side. He says I've never...
Or you're reporting what he said.
Yeah, what he said. But to be honest, every citizen, every member has got a right of choice of the candidate they want to vote, depending on how the candidate convinces them. Even in these upcoming elections, I know that there are quite a number of candidates that are coming. And every candidate will come with their ideas, their manifestos, and so the one who will convince the people more and will bring a good manifesto and a very good roadmap and strategy of how we are going to achieve development probably will win the majority votes.
True.
Just like other, like citizens of Busia Municipality, it doesn't make me so different. I also, at that moment, had to have a choice of the candidate. And among the current candidates that were there at that time, I chose to stand with Honorable Macho because the ideologies he had were good.
By that time?
By that time. Because, and that was spoken, When you speak what people think would work when you practically do it, then definitely one would say, let me try him. You see?
Yeah.
And for me, when I went in to support him, after 1 year, just a few months to 1 year, I realized this man was not going to work for the people. I even told him after 1 year.
After 1 year.
Because he kept on complaining cases in court. I am in parliament. When you call him, he doesn't pick calls. When you tell him you promised people this, he doesn't meet the promises that he made. Then I knew if at all 1 year has ended and this man has not done anything and he keeps on complaining, but we see a lot of developments going on. He's constructing a school, he's buying plots, he's constructing a home in Seta, in Kampala, he's into a lot of things.
And he was in court.
And he was in court. But when people demand for the promises, he would tell the people, court has taken all the money. But how about these other monies that you're investing into other people? Can't you sacrifice as a leader? Because, a leader has to be for the people.
True. True.
Has to be for the people. Even the little that you have, even when you have not lobbied from the government. For me, I strongly believe that when you raise a child, and this child grows up, and is coming from this community. We have grown up like in Busia, like me. I have grown up in Busia. I have studied here in Busia. I have done businesses of selling, kerosene. I'm after Geta. Yeah, we used to pass via Mafutata, pass via Marach. We go to Kenya, buy some little paraffin, bring it in Busia here. We sell, and we get some money to buy, exercise books when we are going to school, buying pens, and it was for survival. Doing business, selling soya and gin nuts in these drinking places, doing quite petty business to survive as young kids. I have my other fellow colleagues that I did this with. I would be so much proud if, like now at the moment, God has helped me and I'm somewhere. It is important that you also touch some people, touch the lives of people, in that you leave an impact and legacy, and people see that they have grown up here, and you see, you create a state where people admire you, where young people can follow and see, we also want to be like him, something like this. And so, this is the kind of thing that we need. So when I relate it to the current, leadership, then you see that our man is not doing what he promised the people of Busia Municipality. And for me, at the end of the year, when I saw that he was not following what he had his manifesto, I knew he was off track. First of all, I want to clear this, that I don't demand anything from Macho, and he does not owe me anything.
True.
I'm just contesting as any other citizen
True.
would also wish to contest. We don't demand each other. We don't have any grudge, between us. But this is an opportunity for everybody who wants to participate and thinks he needs to take his people somewhere.
Yeah, Mr. Ken, we've seen in the previous elections. You remember LC5 elections. You remember the woman MP. By then, it was Nina and Barbara. People will always talk. And many times I take their assumptions to be true. What if Honorable Macho comes and talks with you and he tells you, do you know what, my brother, come and we talk in a round table. If at all now you are two in the race, I'm just anticipating, if you are two in the race and the race is very hot, and then Honorable Macho comes in and then he tells you, do you know what, Ken, my brother, come and we talk, and then he compromises you. Will you allow such an action to happen?
Such an action will not happen, and I want to tell you that he did it already.
Sure.
Last year in October, him through a group of pastors in Busia Municipality called for a meeting at Dom Royal. And that was around, I think, lunchtime. So I was doing my work, then I received a phone call from one of the pastors saying Honorable Macho has approached them and he would like us to have a discussion. Then I told him, what do I have to do with Macho at the moment that I have told my people that I'm intending to contest and to become an aspirant candidate. Then they said, no, you just come and listen. We don't know what he wants to say. They also told me they don't know what he would say at that moment. So I, because of the respect, those are my elders, they are my pastors, I said, let me go. So we went there, we had around 30 pastors that had been, invited in the meeting, and they also didn't have the agenda. So from those pastors, one pastor had an agenda. I think one pastor who mobilized these other pastors through Macho. And so when we were there, the only item on the agenda was the discussion between Macho and me. He requested the pastors to ask me to step down for him. And telling the pastors that if you allow this young man to contest, he will break the church. And so he premiered himself as mature, as a born-again Christian, as one who has grown up the foundation of the church, and he understands well very, very much for the church. And my response to him was that Busia Municipality is bigger than the church in Busia Municipality. True. Not everybody in Busia Municipality is a church member. True. I respect the fact that I'm a Christian, but I hold to religious values. There are other organizations and umbrellas of religion that are not Christian, like our Muslim brothers. We also have the Seventh-day Adventists, the Jehovah's Witnesses, and so many other organizations. So we need to appreciate that, that Busia Municipality is not all about a church. It is about the people. Those people go to mosques, those people go to churches, others don't go, others do other things. What we are talking about here is not the church issues or mosque issues. Those ones, we leave them to the religious leaders. True. So he called the leaders, and he was willing to offer me 50 million at the desk at that moment. And I told him, you have been in the parliament for 4 years. You have 1 year to go, because that was last year.
That was last year.
These pastors that you have invited here to ask me to step down for you, you promised them a lot of things.
True.
And I also reminded him that they have a joint organization. They have an account in a bank of pastors, and that account is empty. Instead of offering me the 50 million, give it to them. So that they know you're a good man and you went to work for them. Then probably they will just definitely not vote for me without calling for this meeting. So nemugamba nti nze okuyimirawo kwange okwesimbawo wano Busia Municipality okujja kwange. It's not all about a church. It's about working for all the people. Okukolera abantu baffe bonna ba Busia Municipality nga tetusosola. Era nze nagenda okulaba nga atandise okuleeta ensonga yaki ey'okusosola abantu, ayagala okubaganya abantu olw'amadiini. Nze ekyo nekibaamu ne mbagamba nti for this meeting I'm not ready to have any dialogue of this kind, and I'm not ready to take on any bribe or any compromise from you, Honorable Macho. Then my last word, I told him, go and check my account. Even when you're trying to give me a bribe, check my account and see how much money has passed on my account in the past few years.
That meant
so I'm not that cheap.
That means you have more than that. That one cannot buy you.
That's what I'm not saying, but I'm just saying I'm not that cheap to be bought.
To be bought. So you have the reasons as to why you want to be the MP, and I think those reasons are respected. And as you said, you'll come to the field and you'll convince the people. You have the ideas you're going to sell to the people, and it is the people who will decide.
And maybe probably just to tell you what we are facing in Busia Municipality, because people need to know what are the emergence issues that we need to look at in Busia Municipality. One, we need to understand that municipality is a border town and is a business town. And so people need a conducive environment to be allowed to conduct and do their businesses safely without being, terrorized. And so as a member of parliament, we need to advocate. Like if I become a member of parliament, I'll do much advocacy to ensure that the business community in Busia Municipality has got a conducive environment, to place their businesses and so that they are not disturbed.
Sure.
Secondly, we have institutions here in Busia, religious institutions, academic institutions, health facilities, and so many. We need to put a hand on our academic institutions like schools. Instead of constructing my own school and ask the law person to bring their children to my school to pay 500,000, 400,000 per term, For me, instead I would extend a hand to improve the schools that are existing. Because that's where the lower person, omuntu wa wansi, atwala omwana we ku ssomero lya boda, namutwala Rubaine, namutwala eri Mawero, namutwala Buchicha. N'amasomero amalala gali wansi. Because the lowest person talina sente esobola okutwala omwana essomero ngeri amatoli yazimba ate ng'agamba abantu nti he has built a school. That is his business.
Yeah. Our viewers there, we are sorry, we've been interrupted by network problem, but we apologize for that. Sorry for that. As we're still going on with our issue, I think we are almost coming to an end. We had promised 30 minutes, but you know, the conversation is becoming more sweeter and sweeter. So, Honorable Ken, you're telling us something about how Honorable Macho is trying to compromise you. We're not saying that you are only contesting with him, but he's the incumbent right now. And everyone who is coming for elections, of course, he knows that the incumbent is there. Yeah. But as you've told us, you have your ideas that you want to sell to the people.
Yes.
You were talking about the business community in Busia. Remember, we have the young boys at fisheries.
Yes.
We have the young boys at produce. We have the young boys at clearance customs. We have a lot of businesses. You know, in town, we not depend on farming or going to the garden. That is how we survive. Omwana agenda eri nakola ya kantu ne bamuwayo 15 ne bamuwayo 1,000. That is how he survives. I can tell you, we've been having issues with the Busia fisheries. We've been having issues with Busia produce dealers. So I think that is where you really need to come in strongly and see how that is worked on.
Yeah, kyekyo kimbadde ngezaako okugamba nti abantu abamu badde bagamba nti tunokikolako mu lulimi Oluganda. I hope next time if you invite me, we shall ensure that at least we also use the local language. Yeah, but nga bwe mbadde nkugamba, yes, tulina abaana bangi abali mu Busia Municipality abatalina mirimu. Nga bw'ogambye tulina abaana abakola mu produce. Kati, for example, look, okuva omwezi ogwokusatu from March, abaana emirimu gye badde tegiriiwo. For example, akatale baakasiba. And sorry that most of the questions you twisted them towards the incumbent, and so kubanga ye mukulembeze waffe aliyo ebintu ebimu tulina obidirectinga okuva gyali okucomparinga n'embeera eriwo kubanga ye mukulembeze waffe eyandibadde ng'akola ki ng'atwogerera saawa zino. Olaba akatale baasiba akatale emuntu waffe n'agenda n'abulira ddala completely mu town nga talabika. Bw'abanga aze Busia atuula mu motoka ye ne yeekweka wansi mu ttebe agenda ku ssomero lye ayita abantu abasinkanira eyo. Abantu beetaaga omukulembeze asobola okubabeeramu, omukulembeze asobola okuyita abantu n'atuula mu bantu n'awuliriza ebizibu by'abantu. Abantu bagamba ki? Abantu tebamugamba ensobi ze z'abaakoze naye ne yeetonda n'apikinga up n'akola naki n'akola n'abantu. That's the time that people needed him most. We expected that he would prepare a document to present on the floor of Parliament on behalf of the people of Busia Municipality, talking about the market, talking about the closed sectors like the taxi drivers. But what we have seen him do as his best is to mobilize the vulnerable people, bring them on the street, and incite violence against the orders of the president. This is a member of Parliament who subscribes to NRM party, as you say that if someone goes through NRM party, then he will bring development. But he has showed us that he is incapable. He cannot do anything. Ne NRM party yetu sobola kumuwuliriza. That the only solution he has kwe kuyita abantu okwekalakaasa. Talina enkola ndala jasobola okulaba nga asobola okukunganya abantu be n'afuna ebirowoozo by'abantu n'abitwala we birina okugenda gavumenti esobola okubikolako. Okujjako ye atulaga nti kyasobola okukola kiri kimu kyokka okuyita bamaama abakadde okubagamba nti mujje mbatwale wa RDC nga kimwalabye jjo RDC abawa obuwunga ne babakuba tiya gas n'alabye abakyala babayo nga bakaaba abamu nga basuulira ne masiki ne masiki za gavumenti tuzeetaaga kubanga makyo yatulimbye. Okiraba ekyo kyabadde kibi nnyo. Omukulembeze, you have to address the issues of the people. Bana bamaama abakadde abamu tebagenda ku ssomero tebamanyi bino enkola y'ebintu bino. Why do you put them in a situation of suffering more when they have suffered a lot under this pandemic issue?
Yeah. So, Mr. Ken, as we are concluding, but then already Electoral Commission, the Uganda Electoral Commission, have come up with the roadmap, and elections have been scheduled. I think we are beginning on next month with the special interest groups.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Because they are still consulting.
They're still consulting. This is our first time to see scientific elections. Like me, I've never seen it anywhere. And I'm wondering, how is this scientific election going to be conducted? We have seen the member of Chadondo East, Honorable Robert Chaglani, and BSJ, and they're trying to fight hard this thing of scientific elections. And according to you, it is your first time to come in as in contesting for member of parliament, and it is getting you in that corner of scientific elections. Me, I thought, as it's your first time to come, don't you think this scientific election going to a bit be hard on your side? And I don't know, try to tell the viewers something about this scientific election, how you conduct it. Because I'm seeing the president, the Electoral Commission is not giving a second chance. They are putting this very forward. Yeah.
As a priority.
Yeah. So say something about this scientific election.
It is very unfortunate, I would say, for the Electoral Commission to say that we are going to have a scientific, or the way they are saying digital election. Because this one, the local person does not understand the meaning of the word and scientific. And to the elite, when you talk about scientific, this is a very stringent and very precise and a very structured electoral process, which I think Uganda has not reached to such a level. Secondly, I want to say that I think the Electoral Commission, in my opinion, is not ready at the moment to conduct what we call a scientific election. In my own opinion, the understanding of a scientific election or a digital election does not necessarily mean avoiding public rallies. When you talk of scientific or digital election, then it involves quite a number of issues to happen, including the materials, electoral materials. So when you talk of a scientific election, do you mean that people will not cast their votes in a box? Do you mean that people will not travel and go to the polling station and vote? Or do you mean people will use smartphones to vote? What do they exactly mean when they are saying scientific election? And so, for me, in my opinion, I think, and I know they are meaning, what they are calling a scientific election is an election where public rallies are avoided, but the rest are maintained. Like people will go online and vote. People, of course, will campaign, but they will not use public rallies and speakers. Maybe they will go on radio, they will go on social media and campaign. That's what they are calling scientific election. But the other processes remain the same. Because Uganda, we have not heard that they have procured gadgets. Maybe like gadgets that would have applications like ODK, online transition of elections and so on. So in my opinion, the government, the Electoral Commission, has to listen to the ideas and opinions of other stakeholders.
True.
It was very unfortunate that they also, in this process, they consulted only one party or one person who was the president. And this I saw them on NBS and NTV when they are saying that they consulted President Museveni. My personal opinion would also be that they would consider maybe holding a scientific meeting with a few stakeholders, inviting party stakeholders and consult on them, including NRM together without going behind bars and consult from the incumbent.
Yeah.
And for me, in this current situation, specifically when I come to Busia Municipality, I would want to have any big issue, participating in a scientific election. Because we did not invite the situation, the current situation that we are in.
True.
And it would be bad to say anything, that doesn't make sense about anything science, because we all know that it's a scientific situation, and we don't want to rubbish anything that comes, with it. We want to respect the decision of scientists and doctors.
Yeah.
However, concerning the elections, the Electoral Commission has got the opportunity, there's still time to listen to the views of the other stakeholders.
You've talked about the scientific election. According to your opinion, what will only change is maybe the public levels, because that is where a large number of people will be invited and talking to them. They want to listen to you. They want to know who Ken is. And this will remain the same, like lining up. I think lining up does not make any change. Of course, people will gather, people will bring kavuyo, and another way, counting votes. When it comes to counting votes,
people want to be there and witness.
Want to know how many has Ken got. We don't want these people to cheat us.
Yes.
How many has the other one got? I think the Electoral Commission has a lot of work when it comes to scientific election.
Sure.
But let's pray for the best. According to me, I don't think scientific election is okay, because we are not ready for it. We are not ready for it.
And the challenges, there are quite a number of challenges with it.
A lot of challenges.
A lot of challenges.
So as they are consulting, let me hope they'll come up with a fair conclusion that favors all the people.
Sure.
And then lastly, I want you to tell the viewers, what is that big problem that what is the biggest challenge that you've seen in the municipality, that when you are voted, that is what you begin with? The biggest challenge. I only want one.
Okay. The biggest challenge in Busia Municipality currently rotates around unemployment. When we talk of unemployment, we are not talking only about people who have gone to school and they need to have to be fixed in maybe government offices or NGOs. We are talking about people having money in their pockets, in simple terms. Abantu balina sente. Ate nga bali mu town eye Busia, etalina nnimiro, nti agenda kulima ennimiro ya kasooli, agenda kulima lumonde wali. Omuntu yenna abeera wano mu Busia Municipality, you must have money in your pocket. If you don't have money, landlord agenda kugoba, togenda kubeera na kyakulya, tolina mulimu gugenda mu maaso. So anything around municipality, kyetaaga omuntu omukozi, alina business ye gy'atambuza, ayingizaako sente mu nsawo. So the biggest issue here in municipality, how do we make people work and earn a living? So that's the biggest problem. And so, as an aspirant, one of my visions that to ensure that during my tenure when I'm voted in, I want to find solutions to fix such challenges by looking at options of bringing the circles in the municipality that can help the younger people access money. When circles are available, the women who are selling, some stuff on their stalls can access money at low interest rate or even zero interest rates if this money is provided by the government, so that they are able to have access to money to carry on their businesses. That's the biggest issue. We need the younger people. Abana bakola mu butale, abali mu manda, abali ku customer, abali e Marachi, abali e Nangwe, abali e Madibira, abali wa Solo, where all the villages, Mawero, in their groups to have access to this money, so that ebintu bye bakola bisobola okubanga bikola ki biyimusibwa ku mutindo.
Yeah, that is very right. When you empower these young people,
yes, youth empowerment, yes.
They'll be very busy, because if the people are busy, well, they get the energy. Many cases will reduce. Cases of early pregnancy will reduce, early marriages will reduce, because the young people will be
empowered. Tulina abaana b'obuwala abasobola okubeera ne saluuni ez'amaanyi ez'omutawaana. Ate saluuni yo teyeetaaga sente nnyingi. Omwana osobola okufuna $1,500,000 n'obawa ne beekolamu omulimu, like maybe 5-10 young girls who can join up and then do something. You see?
Yeah.
So when we have money available, funds available, provided for this young people, never
okay.
And I also call it Like I told you, the young people are almost 70 out of 100. Meaning that the remaining population, in one way or the other, they are connected to these young people. Bwokwatako ku mukono muvuka, ojja kulaba nga avudde mu family. Mwana wa gundi. Our focus is women in the struggle.
What is your last word, the people of Busia Municipality? Your last word.
Okay. First of all, I would want to say that thank you so much, Mr. Juma Yahya, for hosting me here on your page. I am so privileged and humbled